The Galactic Union ship Illyrian floated quietly above the blue planet called Earth. To most species of the Union, Earth was a wild, small world filled with strange, unpredictable creatures, humans. They were famous for doing the impossible, for building things that defied logic and safety, and for smiling even when facing danger. Among the Union crew was a young alien engineer named Tilani. She belonged to the Vrixa, a slender species with soft silver skin and 4 bright eyes that glowed faintly in the dark. Tilani was smart, curious, and always fascinated by human stories. Yet she never met a human in person, until today. The Union had sent her team to Earth to study human military technology, hoping to learn how such a young species had advanced so fast. Humans had gone from riding metal boxes on wheels to traveling between stars in less than 2 centuries. The Union had needed 10,000 years to do the same. When their ship landed at the human orbital station Atlas Prime, Tilani's curiosity turned into pure awe. Through the massive hangar window, she saw a towering metal machine, a battle mech standing as tall as a 20-story building. Its surface shimmered with a dull silver armor, and giant engines glowed faintly at its back. "That's it?" she whispered, her voice shaking. "That thing is real?" Her commander nodded. "Yes, that is the Titan-class mech, Prometheus 1. The humans use it for planetary defense." Tilani blinked all 4 eyes. "But how can they control something that big? The neural load should melt any organic brain." Her commander smiled. "Ask the human engineer yourself. She's waiting for us." Inside the hangar, Lieutenant Sarah Hayes stood near the mech's leg, wearing a grease-stained uniform and a wide grin. She waved as the alien team approached. "Hey there! You must be the visitors from the Union. Welcome to Atlas Prime." Tilani stepped forward nervously. Yes, greetings. I am Tilani of the Vrixa Science Corps. I came to study your..." She pointed up at the mech. "Giant metal creature." Sarah laughed softly. "Prometheus isn't a creature." "But yeah, she's big, huh?" Tilani tilted her head. "It's so big!" "How do human girl control this?" The question made the rest of the humans nearby chuckle. Sarah just smiled wider. "With a lot of training, caffeine, and sometimes luck." Tilani blinked again. "Luck? That's not a measurable energy source. Maybe not for you," Sarah said, tapping her temple. "But humans run on it." Sarah guided the alien team up a long lift that took them into the chest of the mech. The metal walls around them vibrated faintly with energy. Every step echoed like thunder. When they reached the cockpit, Tilani couldn't believe what she saw. Dozens of glowing panels, switches, holographic screens, and a single pilot seat surrounded by cables. "This looks impossible," she murmured. Sarah sat down in the pilot chair and strapped herself in. The seat's surface shimmered and neural cables slithered around her arms. "It's not impossible," she said with a grin. "It's just human." The cockpit lights dimmed and a deep hum filled the chamber. Outside the hangar window, Prometheus's eyes came alive with blue fire. From the outside, the giant began to move. One massive hand flexed. The hangar trembled as Prometheus took a step forward. Tilani held her breath. She's controlling it. With her mind, her commander looked just as stunned. "Impossible," Sarah's voice echoed through the speakers. "Prometheus 1 online. Neural sync at 97%. Feels good to stretch." Tilani's scientific mind raced. Her species should not be capable of sustaining that kind of synchronization. Her brain mass is too small. Her energy reserves. She's human, another officer interrupted. "They don't follow rules. They make them." Tilani watched as Prometheus raised its arm and performed a salute. The mech's movements were fluid like a living being. Every gesture matched Sarah's motion exactly. The energy readings were off the scale, not chaotic but balanced, controlled, alive. "How can she keep control?" Tilani whispered. Sarah's laughter came through the comms. "Simple. I don't think too much. I feel it." After the demonstration, Sarah climbed down and met them again on the hangar floor. Her hair was damp with sweat, but her smile was bright. Tilani approached her slowly, her mind filled with questions. "Human Sarah, you should not be able to survive that synchronization. How is your brain not burned from overload?" Sarah shrugged. "Guess we're tougher than we look. Humans are stubborn. When we decide to control something, we do it, even if it tries to kill us. That sounds dangerous," Sarah grinned. "It usually is." Tilani stared at her, half frightened, half fascinated. "You humans, you do not fear failure?" Sarah's gaze softened. We do. We just don't let it stop us. Later, in her private quarters aboard the Illyrian, Talani couldn't sleep. She replayed every detail of the day in her mind. The giant machine, the glowing eyes, the human woman sitting calmly inside that storm of power. Humans were reckless, irrational, unpredictable, and yet, somehow unstoppable. She opened her research tablet and began to write her report. Observation 1. Human engineering exceeds logical safety limits. Observation 2. Humans exhibit extreme confidence in high-risk environments. Observation 3. Their courage appears to override biological limitations. Conclusion. Humanity's true power is not technology, it is willpower. She paused, then added one final line. It's so big. How does human girl control this? Answer. By believing she can. The next day, Talani requested permission to return to the human base. She told her commander it was for further research. In truth, it was curiosity and admiration. She wanted to understand these strange creatures better. The creatures who built gods of metal and dared to climb inside them. 3 days had passed since Talani first saw the human mech Prometheus 1. Yet the memory still lived fresh in her mind. The image of Sarah sitting calmly inside that storm of power made her rethink everything she knew about biology, physics, and courage. The Galactic Union had always considered humans reckless but interesting. Now Talani began to think they were something more. They were different, a species that refused to accept limits. Mission invitation. The next morning, as she analyzed the data she had recorded, her communicator blinked with a new message. Union Engineer Talani, you are invited to participate in the upcoming joint field test of the Titan-class mech Prometheus 1. Mission start, 0900 Earth hours. Lieutenant Sarah Hayes. Talani blinked her 4 eyes in surprise. Participate? In the field test? Her commander overheard her from across the lab. You, inside that human death machine? He frowned. This is madness. Talani's voice trembled but carried determination. Commander, humans are not reckless without reason. I wish to understand their strength, not just observe it. After a long silence, her commander finally sighed. Very well, Talani. But if you die, I am writing in my report that it was the humans' idea. The preparation. When Talani arrived at the hangar, Sarah was already checking Prometheus's systems. The human pilot smiled brightly when she saw the alien approach. Glad you came, Talani. Ready for a little adventure? The Vrixa engineer swallowed nervously. If by adventure you mean risking my life inside a walking mountain of fire and metal, then yes. I am ready, Sarah laughed. That's the spirit. You'll sit in the co-pilot station. Just monitor the energy core and don't press any red buttons unless I tell you. Talani tilted her head. Why not the red buttons? They usually explode things, Sarah said casually. That answer did not comfort Talani. Still, curiosity overcame fear. She followed Sarah into the cockpit again, feeling the vibrations of Prometheus come alive around them. The soft hum of the energy core filled the air like a heartbeat. The liftoff Prometheus 1, systems green. Preparing for launch, Sarah said through the comm. The hangar gate opened, revealing the vast blue of Earth's sky. Then with a deep roar, the mech rose from the ground. Engines flared, thrusters burned bright, and in seconds they were soaring high above the planet. Talani's body trembled from the pressure. This is incredible, she whispered. So much force. So much noise. How are you calm? Sarah smirked. You get used to it. Humans like the chaos. It makes us feel alive. Talani stared at her in wonder. Even as the giant mech rocketed into the atmosphere, Sarah's heartbeat remained steady, her hands smooth on the controls. The synchronization cables glowed faintly blue along her arms. Neural link at 95%, Talani reported. Energy flow stable, Sarah nodded. Good, let's keep it that way. Unexpected distress signal. The mission was supposed to be a simple test. Movement, targeting, and atmospheric re-entry. But as they approached the upper atmosphere, a sudden alarm blared. Distress beacon detected, the computer announced. Sarah frowned. Location? Sector 9 Gamma. Source, civilian freighter Hope's Light. Talani looked at her in alarm. Freighter? That's a human ship, correct? Yeah, Sarah said grimly. And that area's crawling with pirate drones. Without waiting for permission, she turned Prometheus's engines toward the signal. The mech's thrusters roared to life. "Wait," Talani cried. "We are not authorized for combat." Sarah's eyes focused. "Then it's a good thing we're not asking for permission." The pirate attack as Prometheus entered Sector 9 Gamma. The stars around them flashed with streaks of red laser fire. The Hope's light drifted in the void, its hull scarred and burning. Dozens of small black drones swarmed around it like hungry insects. "They are cutting through the freighter's cargo bay," Talani reported. "At least 20 attack drones," Sarah cracked her knuckles. "Then let's even the odds." She pulled down the control sticks and Prometheus's arms came alive. Massive cannons rotated forward, glowing with blue plasma. "Target lock. Fire." A beam of pure energy cut through the darkness, striking one drone and exploding it into pieces. Two more followed in fiery bursts. Talani's jaw dropped. "Your weapon power is unbelievable. But how can you aim so fast?" Sarah smiled faintly. "Instinct. We built Prometheus to move like we do." Another wave of drones attacked, firing missiles. Prometheus raised its shield arm, blocking the explosions. Sparks flew across the cockpit and the mech's sensors flashed warnings. "Shields at 60%, Talani said quickly. "If we take more hits, we won't," Sarah said firmly. "Hang on." Prometheus spun, using its massive body to block another missile aimed at the freighter. Talani felt her stomach twist as gravity pulled her sideways. "This is madness," Talani shouted. "You are risking both your life and the ship." Sarah grinned through the chaos. "That's the fun part." Courage in the storm as the battle continued, one of the larger drones rammed into Prometheus's chest. A burst of flame filled the cockpit and alarms screamed. "Damage in the left reactor," Talani reported. "We're losing power." Sarah coughed, smoke stinging her eyes. "We're not done yet." Prometheus's right arm reached out, grabbed the drone, and crushed it like paper. Another beam blast cleared the remaining swarm. Soon silence filled the void. The freighter was safe. Talani's breathing slowed. "All targets destroyed. You did it." Sarah leaned back, exhausted but smiling. "No, we did it." The comm crackled. "This is Hope's light. Whoever you are, thank you." "You saved us," Sarah replied. "Just doing our job. Humanity never leaves its people behind." Talani felt something stir inside her chest. It wasn't just admiration anymore. It was respect and something deeper. She had seen bravery before, but this was different. Humans didn't fight because they wanted glory. They fought because they cared. The aftermath, Prometheus limped back toward the orbital station, its armor scorched and smoking. Engineers ran to meet them as they landed. The hangar floor shook as the mech touched down. When the cockpit opened, Talani climbed out slowly, her legs trembling. The human mechanics cheered as Sarah raised a fist in victory. "Nice shooting, Lieutenant," one shouted. Talani turned to Sarah. "You risked everything for strangers." Sarah smiled, brushing dust from her uniform. "Yeah, that's what being human means." Talani tilted her head. "You act without logic. You take action without guarantee." "You could have died," Sarah shrugged. "Maybe, but if you don't take the risk, what's the point of having power?" A new understanding that night. Aboard the Illyrian, Talani wrote another report. But this time her words were different. Less technical, more emotional. Observation 4. Humans use technology as an extension of their emotions. Their machines reflect their hearts. Observation 5. The human concept of courage is not absence of fear. It is mastery over it. Observation 6. A human will stand between danger and another life. Even when logic says to run. She stopped writing and looked out at Earth's blue glow through the ship's window. "I think I understand now," she whispered. "They don't control their machines because of strength. They control them because of faith." She closed the report and made a decision. The next test mission she would not just observe. She would fight beside the humans. Earth's orbit was quiet at first, almost peaceful. But Talani sensed something unusual from the Illyrian sensors. Shadows flickered across the planet's atmosphere. Massive objects moving faster than any known spacecraft. "Commander," Talani said, her voice tense. "Something is approaching. It's large, faster than our detection models predicted." Her commander leaned forward. "Show me." The holomap revealed hundreds of massive alien ships, jagged, black, and bristling with weapons, closing in on Earth at impossible speeds. Talani's 4 eyes widened. "This is a full-scale invasion." Call to action. Lieutenant Sarah Hayes was already aboard Prometheus 1, prepping for launch. When Talani arrived, she found the human pilot calm as ever. They're here, Sarah said without fear. Looks like today's the day we test everything. Talani hesitated. The numbers. They are overwhelming. You will not survive alone, Sarah smiled faintly. Talani, we won't be alone. Prometheus is more than a machine. And humans, well, we never give up. For the first time, Talani understood the depth of human courage. It wasn't about size, strength, or strategy alone. It was about willpower, creativity, and the refusal to surrender. Entering the battle, Prometheus rose from the hangar, its engines blazing like a comet. Talani monitored the mech's energy core from the co-pilot station. Every cable, every panel, every glowing line of energy reflected Sarah's focus. Engage autopilot for the first wave, Sarah commanded. I'll lead the attack on the command ship. Talani's hands moved over the console nervously. Autopilot activated, system stable, but these ships are enormous. Each one carries more firepower than a planetary fleet. Sarah grinned. That's why humans improvise. Prometheus soared into the void, dodging massive energy blasts and missile barrages. The cockpit vibrated with every impact. Despite the chaos, Sarah remained calm, moving the mech as if it were an extension of her own body. The human advantage Talani observed the enemy ships. Their weapons were deadly, precise, and relentless, but they followed predictable patterns. The humans did not. Sarah, Talani said, their formation is designed for maximum destruction. If we attack head-on, Sarah cut her off. We don't attack head-on. Watch and learn. With a series of precise maneuvers, Sarah led Prometheus through the gaps in the enemy fleet. The mech's energy cannons fired with stunning accuracy. Drones and missiles exploded around them. But what amazed Talani was not just the firing, it was the creativity. Sarah used her environment, asteroid fragments, debris, and even the enemy's own weapons to her advantage. Each move was bold, unexpected, and entirely human. Talani's mind raced. Their genius. It is not technology alone. It is their unpredictability. They turned danger into opportunity. The command ship finally, they reached the lead alien ship, a monstrous warship larger than any station Talani had ever seen. Its hull pulsed with energy. Its weapons glowed like molten fire. Sarah turned to Talani. This is it. Ready? Talani nodded, though her nerves trembled. I am ready. Systems are fully synced. I will assist in energy management. Good. Then let's save the planet. Prometheus charged forward, dodging plasma beams and enormous projectiles. Talani adjusted energy flows to the mech's arms and shields, keeping it balanced despite the incoming onslaught. Inside the cockpit, Sarah's voice was steady, guiding each movement, calculating risks faster than any computer could. She flipped switches, pushed levers, and activated the mech's experimental systems. Talani couldn't believe what she saw. Sarah's mind and the mech were in perfect harmony. Every instinctive decision saved them from near destruction. The turning point. The alien command ship unleashed a massive energy blast, enough to destroy cities below. Prometheus's shield struggled under the onslaught. Talani, reroute auxiliary power to the forward cannons. We have one shot, Sarah said. Talani acted quickly, redirecting power, monitoring heat levels, and keeping the mech stable. The forward cannons glowed brighter than ever. Sarah aimed at the command ship's core. Now, Prometheus fired. The beam tore through the ship's armor, reaching its energy heart. There was a brilliant explosion that lit the void like a second sun. The enemy fleet faltered, disorganized without their command ship. Talani felt relief wash over her, but also awe. Sarah had turned the tide not by sheer power, but by confidence, skill, and fearlessness. Human courage wins. The remaining alien ships began retreating. Prometheus pursued only as far as necessary to ensure Earth's safety. Talani finally spoke, her voice trembling with wonder. I understand now. You humans, you do not fear death. You act despite it. You create hope where there is none. Sarah looked at her, exhausted but smiling. Hope is stronger than fear. That's why humans survive, Talani nodded. And that is why you control machines impossible to operate, not because of size or strength or design, but because your will is stronger than the world. The aftermath Earth celebrated the victory. Scientists and engineers studied Prometheus 1, trying to understand how a single human pilot could perform miracles with technology. But the truth was simple. It was not just the technology, it was the human spirit. Talani returned to the Illyrian with a full report. She presented her findings to the Union Council. Humans defy logic. They embrace risk with confidence. They act with courage that exceeds all measured limits. Technology is only as strong as the will that drives it. Humans exemplify this principle better than any other species observed. Conclusion: the greatest strength of humanity is humanity itself. The council was stunned. They had always underestimated humans, assuming their small size and brief history meant weakness. Talani's words changed everything. A friendship formed. Later, Talani returned to the hangar to see Sarah cleaning Prometheus 1's armor. "You're going to write them a very long report, aren't you?" Sarah asked, chuckling. Talani smiled with all four eyes. "Yes, and it will be honest, humans—" "You are remarkable," Sarah grinned. "Thanks, Talani. You know, you're not bad yourself." "For an alien." The two laughed. Across the hangar, Prometheus 1 stood tall, a shining symbol of human ingenuity, courage, and heart. For Talani, one thing was certain. Humans were more than just a young species. They were unstoppable. They were brilliant. They were inspiring. And she would spend the rest of her life learning from them.